What is a good soul tie? You know, a soul tie, first of all, is a deep interconnection you feel with someone. You connect on a very deep level. They could be a spouse, parents, children. They could be friends. They could be people at work. And hopefully there are people at church. That's a soul tie where you feel that connection with someone. Now, we hear a lot about toxic soul ties. That means these are people that are bad for you, and we know they exist. But in order to know what a toxic soul tie is, you got to know what a good one is. And I think the best example of this is actually in the life of Jonathan. You see, David desperately needed someone that was good, someone who loved him, someone who would be committed to him. Just like you need good people in your life if you're ever going to accomplish what God wants you to accomplish in life. I'm a pastor. I could never pastor this great church in El Paso and have a huge diocese of hundreds of churches around the world if I didn't have good people that were connected with me. So we all need people in your life. You can't be a lone ranger. You understand? You have to have connections. But sometimes you're afraid to have connections because you're afraid those people are going to hurt you in life. Well, I get it. But I'm going to show you how to spot good people and how to spot bad people, so you can avoid the bad people and connect with the good people. The story is here in 1 Samuel chapter 18 because Jonathan was a good person that David connected with. And it says in verse 1, after David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. The King James says that his soul was knit together with David. So that's where we get this concept of soul ties. It's just that deep connection you feel with another person. That's all a soul tie is. And notice he was connected to Jonathan, who was the son of the king. Okay? But how do we know Jonathan was going to do David good and not bad? And we know he did him good, not bad. It says in verse 2, from that day, Saul kept David with him and did not let him return home to his family. So Saul said, no, you're going to stay at the palace. You're going to stay with me, the king. Now, here's the verse that got me. Verse 3. And Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. Are you ready for this? What is a covenant? A covenant is a solemn commitment, a deep commitment to be with someone for life. In other words, there's loyalty. You're not going to leave a person because they make mistakes or they do things you don't understand. You are completely loyal to that person. Now, of course, the greatest loyalty is husband and wife. But how can you tell you're going to be marrying a good person? Here it is. You have to ask, do they understand loyalty? Do they understand a lifetime commitment? Or do you notice in their life they have friends that they break up all the time? They get mad and they don't like, or they're not even committed to their parents. You understand? Is they live a life where if people hurt them, they throw them away. Now listen to me. They're going to throw you away one day because they don't understand covenant. But in the case of Jonathan, he is making a covenant with David, and he's saying to David, I'm going to be loyal to you no matter what happens. And you can count on my loyalty. And David, on his part, he's saying, I'm going to be loyal to you. And they both were loyal to each other. When David became king, he made a commitment that he's going to protect the household of Jonathan and Saul, and he did. When he became king, he didn't kill them off like most kings would have done because he believed in loyalty. See, listen to me. You got to find people that understand loyalty. They don't drop relationships and end friendships and end relationships with children. Somebody, look, don't marry a man who don't even have a relationship with his biological children. Because listen to me, that man doesn't understand loyalty. See, you got to find people who get it, who understand commitment. And in my church, I have these members that are loyal. They've been with me for almost 40 years. These are the people I count on every day because they get it. They know loyalty. And you got to find people that understand loyalty with you. You see, Jesus had a toxic soul tie with Judas Iscariot. Judas Iscariot wasn't loyal. The moment Jesus started acting in a way he didn't like, maybe even correcting Judas about how he was handling the money, he became disloyal and he betrayed him. See, that's different with Jonathan. He got loyalty. Judas didn't understand it. And it's interesting, at the final Passover meal with his disciples, notice Judas left before he took the covenant meal. Jesus handed him the bread and said, go do what you have to do. And Jonathan got up and left. And when he left, that's when Jesus took the cup and said, this is the covenant I'm making with you. Judas was not part of the covenant. Oh, come on. You've got to find people who understand covenant. They understand loyalty. That they're not going to harm you. They are going to be with you, and they're going to be with you for life no matter what you go through in life. That's what a parent should be with their children. That's what children should be with their parents. That's what a husband and wife should be with each other. That's what church members should be with their pastor. You understand? That's covenant. That's loyalty. And when you find someone loyal, thank God you found someone like that. But friend, you got to be loyal back. And if you find that there are people who only want loyalty toward them, but they're not willing to give it back, you drop them. You got to run from them because they don't understand loyalty. So I would say this. The key to a good soul tie is find someone who's covenant-minded, who understands loyalty, who will be with you for life. Because those are the good friends, those are the good church members, those are the good pastors, those are the good parents and children, because they get it. They know loyalty. And that's how you can spot a good soul tie.